respect for yourself a lot. If someone is doing at least three of these things to you, they're not just being friendly, they're slowly, quietly seducing you. And the scariest part, you probably haven't noticed yet. Stay till the end because the sign number 7 is the one most people completely miss, and it's the most powerful one of all. One, the slow burn and you never see coming. Okay, so here's the thing nobody talks about. Seduction almost never looks like what you see in movies. It's not always some smooth person walking up to you with a curly line and perfect hair. Your seduction, it's quiet, it's slow, it sneaks up on you like a sun you didn't realize that you were humming until it's already stuck in your head, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful and honestly so dangerous if you're not paying attention. The person seducing you isn't gonna notice it. They're not gonna hand you a sign that says, "Hey, I'm trying to win you over." Instead, they're gonna make you feel a certain way over and over again until your brain starts associating them with that feeling. That's the real game. It's emotional, it's psychological, and it works on almost everyone, including the people who think they're too smart to fall for it. So, if you've ever found yourself randomly thinking about someone a lot more than you expected, or feeling weirdly comfortable with someone you just met, or noticing that your mood changes the second there's one specific person walks into the room, pay attention because that's not an accident. That's seduction doing exactly what it's designed to do. And the first step to understanding is simply knowing that it's happening too. They make you feel like you're the only person in the room. One of the biggest and most underrated signs that someone is slowly seducing you is the way they make you feel when you're around them. Specifically, like you're the most interesting person they've ever met. And look, this sounds simple, but it hits way deeper than most people realize. We live in a world where everyone is distracted, everyone's on their phone, half listening, thinking about something else while you're talking. So when someone actually puts all of their attention on you, when they look you in the eyes, when they remember the small details you said 2 weeks ago, when they laugh at the right moments and ask follow-up questions that prove they actually heard you, your brain registers that as something rare and valuable. And here's the psychology behind it. When someone makes us feel truly seen and heard, we start to like them more, a lot more. It's called the spotlight effect in reverse. Instead of feeling like everyone's watching and judging you, this person makes you feel like you're following in the best possible way. Over time, you start craving that feeling. You start looking forward to being around them, and without realizing it, you already started to fall. So next time someone gives you that kind of full, focused attention, appreciate it, but also ask yourself, is this just who they're or are they specifically turning on for me? Because there's a big difference between someone who's genuinely attentive and someone who's strategically making you feel special to pull you closer. Real quick, if any of this is hitting close to home right now, hit that like button. It literally takes 1 second and it tells me to keep making content like this. And if you don't want to miss the next video, because trust me, you don't subscribe right now, we're just getting into the good stuff. 3. The power of subtle calculated touch. Touch is one of the most powerful tools in seduction, and most people don't even notice when it's being used on them, because the best kind of touch is never obvious. It doesn't start with a hug or holding hands. It starts with the lightest, most accidental contact you can imagine. A hand briefly placed on your arm when they're making a point, a touch on your shoulder when they're laughing, accidentally brushing your hand when passing something to you, standing just a little too close in a crowd, close enough that you can feel their warmth. These touches are so small and so casual that your conscious brain doesn't feel them as romantic, but your body absolutely notices. This is rooted in something called touch escalation, and is one of the most well documented patterns in attraction psychology. Each small touch conditions your nervous system to become comfortable with their physical presence, so that over time the idea of being touched by them feels natural, even desired. And here's what makes it so sneaky, because each individual touch seems totally innocent. You never have a moment where you think, okay, this person is making a move. Instead, you just gradually feel more and more physically at ease with them, more drawn to them without being able to pinpoint exactly why. So, if you notice someone consistently finding small casual reasons to make physical contact with you, that's not clumsiness, that's intention, and it's working on you whether you realize it or not. 4. They mirror you, and it feels like a deep connection. Here's something that's gonna blow your mind once you start noticing it. When someone is attracted to you or trying to seduce you, they will often unconsciously or very consciously start to mirror your behavior. And mirroring is exactly what it sounds like. They copy your body language. If you lean forward, they lean forward. If you cross your arms, they cross theirs. If you speak slowly, they slow down too. If you laugh, they laugh. If you use a specific word or phrase, suddenly that word starts showing up in how they talk. And the reason this is so powerful is because psychologically we're deeply wired to trust and like people who are similar to us. Mirroring sends a subconscious message to your brain that says, this person is like me, this person gets me, this person is safe. And that feeling of being understood, of finding someone who just vibes with you on the same frequency, is genuinely intoxicating. It creates a sense of connection that feels feels almost spiritual, like this person just gets you in a way others don't. But here's what you need to know. Skilled seducers know this and they use it deliberately. They study how you move, how you talk, what you value, and they subtly reflect it back to you so that being around them feels like coming home. It's warm, it's comfortable, and it's incredibly effective. Next time you catch someone matching your energy in a very specific, consistent way, recognizing that what you're feeling as connection might actually be the result of a very deliberate, very calculated strategy. Which song hit you the hardest? Drop the number in the comments. I'm genuinely curious. 5. Creating inside jokes and a private role just for two. One of the sneakiest and most emotionally effective seduction tactics is when someone works to create a little private world between the two of you, and it usually starts with something small. An inside joke, maybe something funny happened between you two, and they reference that again later. Then again and again. Slowly, you start to build up this collection of shared references and little moments that only make sense of the two of you. Things you laugh about that nobody else would understand, and what this does psychologically is incredibly powerful. It creates what's called relationship specialness. Your brain starts to perceive this person as uniquely bonded to you because you share a world that no one else has access to. It builds intimacy faster than almost anything else because intimacy at its core is about exclusivity, the feeling that there's something between you and this one person that exists nowhere else. Beyond inside jokes, they might also start a little ritual with you. Your coffee order, they always remember a specific song they associate with you. A running joke they bring up every time you talk. All of these things seem sweet on the surface and honestly, but they're also deeply strategic because once someone has established that private world with you, leaving the relationship doesn't just mean losing a person, it means losing an entire universe of shared meaning. And that's when it stops being just attraction and it starts becoming emotional dependency. Know the difference. Sex, the strategic use of mystery and withdrawal. Okay, this one is huge and most people fall for it without having the slightest clue what's happening to them. One of the most powerful seduction techniques ever documented in psychology is the push-pull dynamic, and at its core, it's about creating emotional uncertainty through strategic withdrawal. Here's how it works. Someone is super warm and attentive with you, making you feel great, and suddenly they pull back a little. They're slightly less available. It takes longer to get answered. They seem a little more distracted, and your brain, which had already gotten used to that warm, attentive version of them, freaks out a little. You start wondering what changed. You replay conversations trying to figure out if you said something wrong. You find yourself thinking about them way more than before, and that's exactly the point because here the psychological truth we value things more when we're not completely sure we have them. Uncertainty triggers a dopamine response in the brain, the same chemical involved in gambling and social media scrolling, and it makes us more emotionally invested, not less. A person who's always 100% available and predictable is someone our brain deprioritizes over time, but someone who gives us just enough warmth to feel good, followed by just enough distance to make us anxious. That's someone we can't stop thinking about. This is one of the most manipulative tactics in the seduction playbook, and knowing about that is your best protection against it. If someone's inconsistency is making you more obsessed with them instead of less, that's not love, that's a psychological trap. Has someone ever slowly seduced you without you realize it until it was too late? Tell me what happened. 7. They remember the details that nobody else remembers. Think about how it feels when someone remembers something small you said weeks ago, your favorite restaurant, a street you mentioned in passing, your mom's name, the thing you were nervous about at work. It feels amazing, right? It feels like being truly known, and that feeling is so powerful that it's one of the most effective seduction tools that exists because most of us are deeply starved for that kind of attention in our everyday lives. Here, the psychology. When someone returns and references small details about your life, your brain interprets that as proof that you matter to them, that you're memorable, that you're important enough to hold on to. And in a world where most people are half listening and quickly forgetting, someone who remembers feels almost miraculous. But what you need to understand is that remembering details is also a skill, and for some people, it's a very deliberate strategy. They're not just naturally attentive, they're actively cataloging information about you so they can use it later to deepen the emotional bond between you. When they bring up that thing you said 3 weeks ago, it doesn't just feel good, it makes you think, wow, they really pay attention to me, they really care. And once you believe someone truly cares about the details of your life, your guard calms down, you open up more, you trust more, you feel more, and that's when seduction really starts to do its deepest work, not through physical attraction but through the much more powerful feeling of being genuinely understood by another human being. 8. Compliments that are different from anyone else. There's a difference between a compliment and a seductive compliment, and once you understand that difference, you'll never hear praise the same way again. A regular compliment is surface level. You look nice today, that's a cool jacket. A seductive compliment goes straight past the surface and targets something deeper. Your intelligence, your character, your unique way of seeing the world. Seem like you're one of the few people I've met who actually thinks for themselves, or I love the way your mind works, or I've never met anyone quite like you. These kinds of compliments work so much more powerfully than regular ones because they hit at the level of identity. They make you feel seen not just for what you look like, but for who you are. And when someone makes you feel like your specific combination of quirks, thoughts, and personality is genuinely rare and attractive, that hits on a completely different level. It also creates a subtle sense of exclusivity. This person doesn't compliment everyone this way. They're telling me I'm different, I'm special to them, and psychologically, that sense of being chosen, of being the one person who stands out to someone, is one of the most intoxicating feelings a human being can experience. On top of that, seductive compliments often come with great timing, right when you're vulnerable, right when you've shared something personal, right when you need validation the most. That precision, that's not accidental, that's someone who's paying close enough attention to know exactly when their words will land the hardest. This was just at the beginning. The real secrets about attraction and seduction. There in the next video. Hit subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. And 9. They make the future feel exciting and shared. One of the most subtle and effective signs someone is seducing you is when they start casually weaving you into their future and doing it in a way that feels natural, not forced. It's a little things we should go to that restaurant sometime. You'd love the city. We should go next summer if we travel together. And none of these are formal invitations or commitments. They're just small verbal projections. Little seeds planted in your imagination that put the two of you in future scenarios together. And the reason this is so effective is because of how our brains process imagination. When we picture ourselves in a positive future scenario with someone, we don't just see it as hypothetical. We start to emotionally invest in it. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagining something and actually wanting it. So by casually referencing a future together, this person is getting you to mentally rehearse being with them. And every time you do that, the idea becomes more familiar, more comfortable, more desired. It also creates a sense of momentum, like things between you're naturally heading somewhere, not because of any dramatic declaration, but just because it's kind of obviously going that direction, and that feeling of natural, inevitable progression is deeply seductive. It removes the anxiety of where is this going and replaces it with a warm certainty that something real is being built. Pay attention to how often someone talks about the future with you in it, because by the time you realize that you're both planning a life together, it may have already started. 10. Your gut already knows. You just need to listen. Here's the thing that ties everything together, and it's probably the most important point in this entire video. Your body knows it before your mind does. Every signal sign we talk about today, the touch, the attention, the mirroring, the future talk, the compliments, the mystery, all of it registers in your nervous system before you consciously process it. You feel it as a kind of electricity, a hidden awareness when they're nearby, a warmth that's hard to explain, a sudden anxiety when they're not responding. Your gut is already reading all of these signals and translating them into feelings. The problem is that most of us are taught to override those feelings, to second guess them, to wait for proof before we trust what we sense. About intuition and relationships isn't weakness, it's data. It's your brain processing hundreds of micro signals simultaneously and sending you a summary. So if something feels off, if someone's attention feels too deliberate, too perfectly timed, to consistently focus on your emotional vulnerabilities, trust that. And on the flip side, if something feels genuinely warm and mutual and real, trust that too. The goal of understanding seduction isn't to become paranoid or to stop enjoying attraction. It's to become emotionally literate enough to know the difference between someone who's genuinely falling for you and someone who's running a playbook on you because you deserve the real thing. And recognizing the signs, that's how you protect yourself long enough to actually find it. And thank you for watching all the way through. That seriously means everything. If this helped you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one. Keep your moments special.